Which then do I have? Says we're live. I don't see it.
I don't see it up yet either.
There we go. Now it's showing. Okay.
Yeah, I see it come up.
Huzzah. So, yeah. All right. So I'm considering for a future episode, have any of you seen a game called Chained Together?
Chained together.
It's a
No.
co-op platformer where the characters are chained together.
Oh, was that in the recent direct, I think?
It might have been, I don't know. But it's like $5 and I'm considering for an Overleveled if we should do a gameplay Overleveled, and I think it'd be perfect.
Okay.
Because it's like getting over it, but teamwork is required.
Well, that sounds significantly harder than getting over it.
Well, no, getting over it's like way more. It doesn't.
Oh, okay.
Bad controls isn't part of its setup.
Chained Together is not what I thought it was, but there was a recent, I think it was the indie and partner direct, and there was one where it's a 2-player that you are connected, but it's very 2D blocky characters, not.
Yeah, no, this is 3D. It sort of has a trying to climb out of hell to get to heaven aesthetic, sort of surrealist. It I don't know. It's one of those things. It's like if I can get 4 people, well, I guess 3 people, because I'd be part of it, to go in on it, I think it'd be a lot of fun.
If Loonstar and I were to play, would we need 2 copies of the game?
I believe so. It's only like $5 though, as these games are wont to be, because the whole point is to get people to join in.
That's true. You want a low barrier to entry if you want a multiplayer experience. Yeah.
By the way, did you get all your versions of Concord?
I did get some, and I was able to resell one. So
Nice, congrats.
I just hope it wasn't a scam. So we'll see.
To sell it? You're the one selling it.
Well, if the way it works is they have to confirm they received it, and they haven't confirmed it yet. Which I'm like, you got it already, so.
Hi, Kamizite. How are things in Hurricane Land? Not on fire, hopefully. Glad to hear it. Well, if you need anything to take your mind off and you want to join us, you're more than welcome. I rolled a 4.
In your brand new splice tower?
Indeed.
Are you going to try and re-glue that peg back in, or?
I don't know what I would do it with.
I just used E6000.
What's
so.
that?
It's like the crafter's favorite glue at this point. Every cosplayer I see is using that, and jewelry crafts. It's
basically
like,
super glue.
Yeah, but it doesn't dry quite as stiff. So I think it works better usually. I don't know. I've just seen a lot of people use it, so I've started using it.
Wisdom of the crowd and all that. All right, well, let's get started. Let me hit record. As I approached this topic, I thought to myself, what could possibly have been the very first startup screen I've ever seen? And then it dawned on me. It's a very simple one. The Game Boy, unlike its other cartridge-based predecessors, had a startup screen. It's just that simple, single tone, yet it evokes such nostalgia. This is episode 28 of I Think We Overleveled. We are covering game console startup screens. Lizzie, Looney, how you doing?
All right.
Doing good. Yeah.
So, do you think the Game Boy was your first as well?
Probably, because in the US, the NES and the SNES didn't really have a startup sound.
Nope.
They just went straight to the game, so yeah, it probably was the Game Boy.
I think mine might have been the Sega Genesis, actually.
Oh, this one?
There's the nostalgia. Yeah, that's a good one.
It made me so happy when I went to the Sonic movie and the Sega Studios or whatever it's called intro was just like a more operatic version of that. It's like they know why we're here. They understand who's here for this
They
film.
get it. Yeah, they totally get it.
And that's important. But yeah, no, startup screens are a very interesting just thing with gaming, because I don't actually understand their purpose other than branding, which I actually think that's a very fine purpose.
I think that's perfectly legitimate purpose, yeah.
Especially if it's short. I just make it very short and to the point.
I like the little jingles that get stuck in your head, and then you're like, oh, yes. And you hear it other places, and you're like, wait a second, I know what that is.
Well, it's I think it's almost like a ritual. Like, where we have to do this thing to summon the game.
Well, that, and it can evoke an emotion and help kind of get you ready the way a ritual would too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there are certain startup screens that they do, like I have my whole body responds to the sound of it,
Very Pavlovian, but correct at the same time. Oh dear, I scrolled on the wrong thing. But no, the startup screen is a very interesting topic, and so I just kind of wanted to go through some of them because some of them were interesting. Like, for example, I didn't know the Famicom disk system had a startup screen until I started going down this, and I was kind of blown away by how epic it is. That's way too loud. Like, and then it has this whole Mario and Luigi turning it off, Mario turning it on, and then Mario bullying Luigi. as we see here. Luigi
Oh,
backs
whoa.
up.
Well, that's interesting.
Right?
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, I never saw this one because we didn't have it in the States.
No. No, and so this was just one of those things that. So they're just showing. Then if you pull it out,
Interesting.
Yep.
I didn't know. Not very often they have something set up for when you pull it out. That's
No.
kind of neat that they did that.
well, there's a couple that they're based around if you don't have stuff in there, like this. I believe this is for the Nintendo 64 disk drive, which was another thing that never came to the States. Like, this is actually pretty impressive in terms of like what they're doing, because this is full polygon modeling and movement, and it's just waiting for you to put the disc in.
Well, like, and they even had like like a wave and a ripple that was for back then, pretty impressive. So,
Well, especially when you think for the fact this would have to be hard coded into the system itself because there's no
Yeah.
disc.
correct.
That's true.
So this is all on hardware alone.
It was probably loaded onto like an EEPROM or something.
Which, of course, everyone knows what that is.
I mean,
I was gonna say,
yeah,
what?
right? Of course.
Do you want to
Some-
explain
some-
yourself? Hardware boy?
Just some memory that's like a chip that's put to the board that has its own memory to it. So they took up some space on that, and that's probably be where they install BIOSes and like firmware sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not even BIOS. Well, I mean, back then probably had what would be considered the BIOS, but just the firmware, really.
Indeed. Now, we've shown some cool ones, but this is the so there's one that I think I have I think is Nintendo's best one, which is this one for the Game Boy Advance.
That one's a bit of nostalgia for me too.
But
Yeah, that one's a classic. It doesn't evoke as much emotion for me because I didn't play the GBA as much as I would have liked to. But yeah, even that has. It's just it just feels good.
yeah, and it's just building off on the Nintendo Game Boy one, where it's just the simple ding, but it does give that whole feeling of this is the next level. Because first of all, you have the fact that you see the rainbow of colors,
Yeah.
which was not the Game Boy's strong suit. And then on top of it, the sound quality, like there's a certain crunchiness to the Game Boy Advance in its sound, but I don't know, there's something about it that I like. And I've never quite been able to put my finger on it. But no.
It
I'm
is
just thinking, like-
interesting. These different things, they kind of help hype you up for, ooh, I'm going to play a game, And
Yeah.
even something as simple as the first Game Boy is one sound, and then it kind of evolves into this now, where you've got a few different notes, and they still are managing to achieve this emotion with so little.
Well, so there's so little, and then there's the Sega CD. This is another, I think it's a waiting for disc screen. But it is trying to show how advanced it is. And it really wants to impress you. Listen to this music.
It's like a full song just for
Yeah.
the load up.
Well, and just look at all the ways the Sega and the Sega CD logos are just being animated all over the place. It's like that kid who's used PowerPoint for the first time and has learned all the different forms of transitions you can do.
Well, yeah, or what did my school have? Like the Max like hyperlink. It was similar to PowerPoint, but it was kind of made to be more gamified. But Man, it's still going. Jeez.
Yeah, no, they went full. I mean, look at all the effects they're doing. They're just like, put the frickin' CD in, kid. Night Trap isn't gonna play itself. Yeah, it goes on for like another minute and a half.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but look, this is the first like real CD based system. So, at least in the modern era, I'm sure there's some obscure thing that I don't know about.
Yeah, though it is interesting. You know, I was just still thinking on the original Game Boy one. Like I love how they put it in at the very end of Smash Ultimate. You know, when you hit the Nintendo icon at the end, it plays the sound, and it's like, oh.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, I realize if I have a handheld in my hand and it plays that Game Boy startup, thanks to the Game Boy Color, because when you first turned on the Game Boy Color, depending on what buttons you pressed during the startup screen, it set the color scheme for your black and white games.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So yeah, there was a few different options you could choose, and so when I hear that, my body immediately just by reflex wants to press up and B to set the color scheme I like.
I did not know that. Now this one is
okay. Well, hold on. I must say this is the one that has the most impact on me. Like when I say like I feel it with my entire body, this is the one I think of. And when you asked about this very topic, this is the one that I wanted to share.
Which
first
one?
and foremost. The Sony PS1.
Okay, cool. Just making sure.
And because like every time I hear it, it's like I feel it tingle my whole body.
And it's again very simple, a little extra in terms of the sound compared to the ones we've looked at before. But the sounds are very simple. And it, again, just gets you ready. And let's face it, this one's probably doing work because the PlayStation and PlayStation 2 were known for needing some time to read everything off the disc.
Yeah, well, I mean, this one, just the way it starts, where it's got that simple, white screen with Sony Computer Entertainment, and it's got that deep, the THX, the audience is now deaf sound going on.
Yeah.
Oh.
Luckily, I turned down the sound before this played, otherwise my ears would be shot.
Well, but that's also part of it. One of the big advantages of having the CD was the sound quality. And so something like this really displays that big advantage the PlayStation had over its competitors really quickly and really simply.
Well, yeah, because like I was saying, it starts out super deep, but then it immediately transitions into the high tone. So it shows you, here's our deep bass where we can rock your house with your subwoofer, and we'll go into... And your tweeters, look, we can use the tweeters in a way you've never heard before with these chimes that sound ethereal and sound mystical, like...
Well, it's especially appropriate given that, I mean, the PlayStation is this was the next evolution of gaming.
Oh yeah, I mean, and this was, the whole transition of, 2D, because I went from Super Nintendo, which, I mean, granted, looking back, the Super Nintendo today looks better than the PS1 graphics, but since 3D graphics, there were no good 3D graphics. The PS1 was good 3D graphics. Seeing, booting up Final Fantasy VII for the first time when you're like, video games can look like this? Are you serious? And just the introduction to the system in any game you went on, just being introduced by this, like, it got you so ready, just, as it shows how dark of a black screen, how white of a white screen, how deep of a bass it can play, how high of it, and the instrumentation, how it is, much more varied in the instrumentation than was capable on earlier hardware. Like, yeah, no, this, not only did it mask some load time, it did some work for the player too. Yeah. This is still like my favorite boot up screen of all time.
Well, and I also think it just works for Sony was this big unknown. Like it had been just Nintendo and Sega for a while. And so this ethereal entry also sort of highlights this unknown quality of what is Sony going to bring to the table that these other two giants haven't already. And the answer was we're going to bring an entirely new just way of approaching making the console.
Well, yeah, and you know, at the same time, Sony had to prove itself.
Yeah.
You know, and like for me, who was a longtime Nintendo fan, you know, they had to convince me to go to it, which I mean, really, it was because of the developers they convinced,
Yeah.
you know.
Well,
I like long RPGs, and all of my long RPGs developers switched to PlayStation over Nintendo, and it's like, well, why did you do that? And it's like, because having the CD to put in, you know, over 500 megabytes for a single game as opposed to being limited to like 60 megabytes in a cartridge opened up worlds of possibilities. And of course, Squaresoft is like, oh, we're not even just limited to one CD. We're actually allowed to, you know, you talked about how the 64 wouldn't allow you to do the stop and swap like they want to do with Banjo-Kazooie. Well, that was not a limitation for the PlayStation. You had multi-disc games if it wasn't enough to fit it on one disc. And that was a game changer for a lot of these developers. Yeah, quite literally.
Well, because it's a very interesting issue. Is part of it wasn't like, let's be real. Part of it was Nintendo's greed. Nintendo, as long as they were stuck in the cartridge era, they had control. Really strong control over what would ever show up on their system, and they got a cut of it. And because they had their licensing deals with the hardware itself. Cartridges are also more expensive. And so they had a huge incentive to try and keep things on cartridge. And meanwhile, all the developers are like, but we can do much cooler stuff with the CD technology. And because Nintendo was refusing to make the move, Sony came in and said, we'll make the move. You want to develop for us? It costs, I think it was something like $20 to make a cartridge, but like 20 cents to make a CD or something.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, CDs, dirt cheap. I mean, it's part of the reason why, you know, video games were able to stay so cheap, because going to CDs over cartridges dropped the production costs dramatically.
Yeah.
And and that's a big deal. I mean, people forget about how big of a deal the production cost is.
Well, it's because some people have done this thing where they go back and adjust for inflation. Now, it's not apples to apples, and you see that a game adjusted for inflation was more expensive back in the day than it is now. And you say to yourself, well, wait, I hear all these gaming companies talk about how it's so much more expensive to make a game. How is the price not skyrocketed with it? It's because whilst the cost of making the game has gone up, the cost of making the physical part of the game has disappeared almost entirely if you're doing digital.
Well, and it's more than that. They have a much higher quantity that they can sell. There's many more gamers that buy games, so
you don't have to have as high a profit margin on each unit.
Yeah, your profit margin per unit doesn't have to be as high, and when you're selling, and the PlayStation is really when, you know, gaming really started getting big, and so the fact that they were able to decrease the cost of the actual manufacturing of the units was a huge deal. And you know, the story of how Sony PlayStation came to be is actually, you know, it's a very interesting long story, because they did work with Nintendo to make a CD-based system that Nintendo turned down, and I heard that they even were approached with Sega, and they eventually just said, no, we're doing our own thing.
And that's how you got the Philips 3DO.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the final part of that story, right?
Yep.
It's not like literally the next thing that they released was the best-selling console of all time with what I think is the most iconic startup screen ever.
I disagree on it being most iconic, but we'll get to the one I think is later, I think.
This is the when
I do love this.
when I think startup screen. This is the one that I think. I mean, look, obviously
It's up there, but for me, I think this is probably my number 2.
But and then it has the PlayStation sound, like the sound I associate with PlayStation. That I don't know what that is, but I love just what is that?
Yeah,
I like it though.
I do love the PS2 startup, even though I still think the PS1's still my favorite. But one thing I love about the whole intro to the PS2 is how that city, that skyscraper city that you're looking at, how it builds up over time. Because when it's a brand new system, you haven't played any games on it, and your memory cards are empty, there's not that much on the screen. But the more save files you put on your memory cards,
Okay, so I didn't have a PlayStation 2, so I didn't know this. I didn't know this.
Yeah, so like here, as you can see on this still screen, it shows a bunch of like skyscraper looking things, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's actually representative of how full your memory cards are.
I did not know that. Okay.
And so it's kind of like a cool effect that the more you play your system and the more games you have, the more populated this screen becomes. It's a neat little effect that does kind of help it feel like, oh, I've been building up my library. And I don't know, it's PlayStation 2. I mean, still the best-selling console of all time. It deserved its place. It was a great system, and the fact that it could still play PS1 games. The only complaint I had about it is the fact that it didn't play the full PS1 boot up sound. It just played I mean, it still had the ethereal part when you loaded up a PS1 game, but it didn't have the deep bass, part at the beginning. But that's how it is.
Well, and there's a certain brutalistic aesthetic to this that just feels very. All I can think of is cyberpunk. Sort of like our vision of what VR, the virtual world, was going to be, type of thing.
Like the movie Hackers,
yeah.
Or like in what's it called? Community.
Yeah. Hey, Baggins, how's it going?
Going all right. How about you?
I'm good.
Hey, we got a Hobbit.
But yeah, so yeah, we're just sort of going through. We just hit through a lot of the early days stuff. I would like to go to a contemporary.
Well, with the early days stuff, though, also a lot of it wasn't technically a system boot up.
No,
a lot because those were specific to the individual games.
Yeah, it's mostly for branding.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I want to say that the PS1. I'm trying to think, if you turned it on without a disc, you'd still get the deep bass, but would you still get the ethereal part at the end?
I do not know.
I'd have to test it.
I never had a PS1. That's one of the reasons I bought a PS2, is so that I could play all the PS1 games that I've been wanting to play.
Okay.
But I can confirm that this screen and sound still appears if you don't have a disc in the PS2. However, that part that you like where it shows the PlayStation 2 logo and has a blue, as you call it, that doesn't show up. Because it does this first part, and then it goes into a menu where you can, deal with your memory cards.
Yeah, I think that one was specific to, like, it was actually in the games rather than the hard boot.
Yeah, the final boot where it shows the PS2 logo, that is the game booting up.
Yeah.
Now, the contemporary, and the one I'm gonna guess Lizzie is saying is the most iconic, is the GameCube.
Yeah,
one of the most iconic. I mean, it's been memed to the ends of the earth and back.
This one for me is like the number one system boot up, with PS2 being second.
Causes you to brain blast.
Yeah. And I absolutely love that they put it in the Mario movie, but I hate that it's missing the final note.
Yes, it's one of the most just like, wait, what where is that? Where is
You're
closure?
like,
I need closure.
It's incomplete.
Well, I mean, because they did that, it's like the songs, songs have the kind of that they end a song with a resolution, and that resolution never comes with that ringtone. So you're like, ah!
It's like if you go up to somebody and you go, and just walk away. I don't know if y'all could hear that.
No.
I didn't hear anything.
Oh, it's the da 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 da, and then just, don't finish it. Just go on with your life.
It's how you torture tunes.
It is.
Now, the other thing was when people told me, it's like, oh, hit the...
Oh, wow. I haven't heard a Who Framed Roger Rabbit reference in a long time.
It's a great one.
So there's the normal one, and then if you hit the Z button...
Yeah, okay, good. I was going to bring this up if you guys didn't.
I don't think I know this.
Wait.
That's the normal.
Ow, it's not working on my end.
And then if you hold Z on all 4 controllers...
Okay, that's cool.
That's really cool, the taiko drums.
Yeah, and so they really played with it on that. Well, the other thing is, I think of the boot up consoles, and I'm trying to find a good video of it.
Though this one didn't have. I was hoping they show. I guess that's what you do with the Z button, but with the L and R buttons, how it would spin the cube.
Where you get to the memory cards.
Oh, there we go. Oh wait, no, that's sped up. That's not useful.
Like it would stretch the cube and like spin it faster and whatnot.
There we go. Okay, I found it. Here we go. Putting it in. There we go. Okay.
Why am I not getting any sound from this?
You might have it muted.
The volume is...
Yeah.
Do you have the tab muted?
I got it fixed.
Okay. But yeah, like, just the fact that this is how, like, that stretching animation and just this menu, it's a really good menu.
Oh, it's a great menu.
Yeah.
Like this is the epitome of Nintendo's over engineering. But I like this over engineering. This is the type of over engineering
it makes
that
it
has
stand
style.
out.
But yeah, and so it was just something that I thought was...
It did make the PS2 menus seem kind of lame in comparison.
Yeah, I mean, is it the epitome of style over substance? Yeah, which definitely describes Nintendo in this era, I think, in terms of the console, not the game quality, because they were nailing their games, but
the thing is, they didn't sacrifice substance. Like these are things that you were going to need to edit anyway, and there's like, well, let's just make it a fun way to edit it.
Though I need to give the PS2 some credit, even though it wasn't quite as stylish as this. The fact that when you were editing the memory card in the memory card menu, all of the icons for the games, yeah, they weren't like this. They were actually like 3D animated characters,
like GIFs, kind of.
Well, they were more than GIFs. They were like full-on 3D models.
Yeah. I definitely judged games that didn't have animated icons.
Yeah, because like this one here on the GameCube, they're animated GIFs, but on the PS2, they were actual animated 3D models.
What's PNO3?
What's what?
I don't just if there's I don't know. He pauses on a game called PNO3. I don't know. Well, just I love that sound. It's almost like a theremin sound.
A little bit.
No, the thing that I also just like about this is it's a very different thing. It's one of my favorite Scott the Woz videos where he just bought a bunch of save cards and then started looking through it, seeing just like judging like who was this person.
See, and I kind of do that with myself now because I have memory cards that I haven't accessed in 20 years, and I'll pull it out and judge it and be like, "Who is this person?"
The old Baggins. What was he thinking?
I will say there was a level of excitement when I found a save card for a GameCube and I said, wait. And I plugged it in and looked it up. And sure enough, it was the old Y Smash League save card that had all my old GameCube data. And I just looked and I was like, it had all our old stats of that Smash League. And just, it's a weird form of nostalgia.
Way back in the day.
Wow.
It's like how people used to pull out photo books and flip through. Now we're like memory cards. The memories.
That's the thing. I just recently went through my PS1 memory cards to what was my save file on this game like?
Well, even not even PS1. I pulled out. I started playing after our episode a few weeks ago. I started playing Breath of Fire again, and I had a save state in there on the Switch Online.
Okay.
From 5 years ago that I don't even remember making, and I was just like,
"Oh wow,
how did I get this far into the game and not remember it?"
Well,
it was using my
age, memory
typical
does
name
start to
and stuff.
fade.
So I don't like you saying that because I don't like how right it is.
Well, here to make you
I'm only offended because it's true.
How about the competition at the time?
That's the first time I've ever seen this one.
Yeah, no one had a Saturn because the Saturn sucked.
Yeah.
Somehow that sound is kind of familiar.
I hadn't heard it until today.
Well, first of all, this like we've been talking about how each of these things sort of, at least in the early days, really highlighted what's new about this thing, right? This actually kind of highlights the problem with the Saturn. The fact that they went with scaling images instead of polygons. And you can just see that this is just an image. There's not a model here. As opposed to the GameCube or the PlayStation 2.
And the Sega CD with all their graphics.
Yeah. Well, frankly, the Sega CD one's a little more impressive in terms of what it's, in terms of this at least looks different than what it is at the time. This looks like something, I could make, in a couple minutes in Adobe Photoshop. And it's just, I don't know, it's not that impressive. Now, I will say Sega's next offering is a very underrated one in the Dreamcast.
Oh, it's great, actually.
But
I mean, it capitalized on the whole ethereal feel that the PS1 achieved, but because its name actually is Dreamcast, having that etherealness for a dream is perfect.
Yeah, the whole echoing water drop kind of sound does kind of feel like a dream.
Yeah, the echoing water drop and that ethereal, drone, it's actually perfect for the name of Dreamcast.
Yeah, the Dreamcast is the epitome of too late.
I don't know what kind of dreams y'all are having, or if I'm just doing something wrong, but that's not the sounds I hear in my dreams.
Yeah, but because what is the sound of teeth falling out of your mouth? That's not a sound anyone wants.
Oh gosh. So now
I had the dream.
Everyone has had the dream. Everyone has teeth falling out of their mouth, and then you wake up saying, "What the crap was that?"
I remember my mom talking about having that dream, and I was like, "What? I've had it now. I get it."
I haven't had that experience yet. Not looking forward to it, but
it'll happen to you too. Falling teeth dream is an experience for everyone.
Okay. Now, I did see more videos of the Dreamcast. It seems like it could be different colors. Like, sometimes that swirl and dot can be blue or green as well. I'm not sure what the conditions were for that.
Maybe it was like the GameCube where you held different buttons. Although, didn't the Dreamcast predate the GameCube a little bit?
Maybe? Probably, because...
They were at least made concurrently.
Because I'm just thinking when all the kids at school were crazy about the Dreamcast and its amazing graphics,
I'm sorry, what school were you going to?
No, actually, I think the PS2 was out because people were looking forward to it. It was finally something more powerful than the PS2, the Dreamcast. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah, Dreamcast was 99. So yeah, this predates the GameCube by a couple of years because GameCube wasn't until 2001.
I'm trying to think, when was the PS2?
Looking it up. PlayStation 2. 2000. Yeah, it predates both of them.
Okay, so that must have been the PS2 wasn't out yet, and because this was the first one, they were looking forward to moving past the PS1 and the 64.
That came out in 99.
Because I do remember kids in my actually it would have been junior high that were super psyched about it, and like the commercials were going pretty hard with like Ready to Rumble boxing. Like they were pretty psyched. Like I definitely remember schoolmates being super hyped about the Dreamcast.
Man, that was not my experience. No one was getting the Dreamcast where I was from.
Well, that's the thing. I'm used to people liking the Dreamcast, but I do remember no one cared at all about the Saturn.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the Saturn was just garbage. No one believed in it. Not even Sega.
Except for, what's his name? Segata Sanjuro?
Well,
No.
yeah, but that's different. He was a
Marketing.
He was a mascot.
Yeah.
But no,
Do you have the CDI?
Do I have the CDI? No, actually, because it doesn't even make a sound. It wasn't even worth having it. I did have something from that era, though, that made a sound. And that's it. That's all the Jaguar had.
I mean, there's more to the image, but yeah.
Yeah. But like, did you notice how long? And then just here's a cube with the Jaguar on it. What the crap?
I have no idea what they were thinking. Everything about the Jaguar was just so off.
You know
I
what?
Still don't get it.
I now get it. I now understand. The Jaguar must have been made by like early AI efforts.
That's the thing. I've gotten to play a Jaguar, and it plays as much as bad as its reputation is.
I don't understand. It has 64, which is more. Clifford.
Its controller's terrible. Just I don't know, man. But yeah,
it plays like Atari like found out 3D things were happening and said, well, I know we've sat out the console wars for, over a decade, but let's give it a shot. Oh wait, that's literally exactly what happened. Atari's a company that basically made every wrong decision repeatedly over and over again.
I mean, if you think about it, before Nintendo, Atari was the video game king, and so I wonder if there was a piece of them that was kind of upset that that Japan had taken over, and so they wanted to step back in. But yeah, it was terrible.
It's just way too late. Like this is the big virtue of Sega. The thing, Sega did the right thing by its shareholders. It realized, we are not winning the console war. It's not gonna happen. So we need to take a step back and scale down and stop trying to win everything and figure out how we can just turn a profit. And they refocused on game making, and it's paid off for them.
Do you remember when they tried to get back into hardware recently?
No. What'd they do recently?
Oh goodness, this was, I want to say, it was 7 years ago, I feel like they announced it. But the idea is they were going to make a console. It was basically going to be like a little mini PC, and it was going to have AMD hardware in it. So it'd have like, I think they wanted to be the first console that had Ryzen in it before like the PS 5 and Xbox One came out. But it was essentially just going to be, it was kind of going to be like a similar concept to Ouya, but it was going to be packaged in like the old Atari wood grain system. I don't think it ever came out though. but like
Yeah.
they were gonna go for nostalgia and make like a little computer with it. I think it was canceled.
Well, here's the 3DO. Real. No sound. Yeah, there you go.
When I saw the reel, I'm like, wait, what is this? Is this 3DO? But wait, what's real? I don't know what real is with the 3DO. I didn't know that was a part
There,
of the
you
logo.
should probably see someone about that.
So, on the, I'm gonna come back to mainline consoles in a second because I do want to get into two of Nintendo's portables because they still had a lot of nostalgia for it. Where did I put those? Here we go. DS startup.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
That took me back.
Oh, the
But again,
echo.
Very
Oh,
simple. It's just very simple. They know what they're doing. And now this is the thing. I believe this was only on the top screen, correct?
Yeah, that's just what the top screen. The bottom screen's like the warning, health and safety, whatever, when you
Yeah.
start it up.
And so the boot again, what we're talking about with these systems, they show what is the technology. So the DS is showing off that they can do two things at the same time.
Well, not only were they doing that, they were showing it was a stereo system because
Yes.
the sound pans across to different
yeah.
to different
It echoes
years.
back and forth.
Which
Because you had that dual screen at the top, you had a speaker on each side, and
just
they're
realized
showing you
both the
this is
game and the
different.
sound were in stereo.
Yeah,
I never made that connection. And then I believe the 3DS, I believe this effect in stereo.
Hold on. There's
Wait. We skipped the special birthday DS.
There's a
Yeah.
birthday DS. I don't
yes,
know.
the DS has an Easter egg opening.
Oh,
Do-
I
do-
did
do
see.
you-
I didn't own a 3DS.
No, just the normal DS had it.
Sorry. Wait. Well, do you have it?
Yeah, I posted it there in the chat.
I don't see it for some reason. Yes. Oh, there it is. Birthday jingle. Okay.
It's a very subtle difference, but the tone is different because
Yeah.
you set your birthday on the DS. So when
I
you
didn't
turn
know
it
this.
on your birthday, the sound is different.
Huh. I did not know this. This is because I did not own the 3D or the I didn't own a portable between the Advance and the Switch.
in all honesty, I probably would have thought that my DS was broken.
Right. If you didn't know to be listening for it, you didn't really notice. Not
Well,
gonna lie.
I would have noticed the difference, and I would have thought, "Oh no, did my speakers blow out?"
That's true.
Whoa, is my hair out? Anyway, that's neat. I like crap like that.
I the first time I heard it, I was a little. Oh no, is something wrong? I mean, yeah, it did shock me, surprise me, but then the game was fine, and then I realized, wait a minute, is it because it knows my birthday? And
Well, there's nothing to indicate that it has anything to do with the birthday. So I would have just thought there's something wrong.
This calls back to our conversation yesterday, Bill. New sounds are bad signs.
I don't remember this conversation.
It was because I thought a sound that was just our roommate using the blender, I thought was coming from her heater.
Right.
And I'm like, what the crap? I open the door and then can hear it properly.
Yeah, no.
New sounds are bad signs.
in your house, and then also new sounds from your body are typically bad signs.
Or from your car. Driving with kids who just
from the
randomly
car.
start like hitting something and you're like, is that my car engine or is that a child? Like, what is that sound?
All I know is I'm
Yeah.
going to hit something. 3D. Now, with the stereoscopic, did this do something?
Yeah, I think
I think the red in the background popped more and like the
Yeah.
logo popped out.
I think
Yeah.
the logo was pushed forward.
Yeah, this is something
Yeah.
where I don't think this can really showcase it, obviously. But again, we're just talking about it's really starting to like the whole point of the startup screen is to give just a small taste of what this console can do. that wasn't possible before.
And I do like, I mean, I keep using the word ethereal. It's almost like it's E3 and I'm saying the word visceral, but it really does kind of give that. I think they often were going for that dreamlike quality of feeling of you're about to enter into a new world,
like Alice
reality.
stepping into Wonderland.
This was right at the height of Nintendo's "we're a different version of Apple" phase, where like they had the DS Lite came out and it looks like it's an Apple product.
Well, to your point.
Fair enough.
Well, and the Wii was basically iPhone, but it ended with the I instead of began with the I.
Nintendo.
Nintendo.
You trying to make me like the Wii less?
I'm just saying, I was very, very aware of this.
Yeah, but it's an interesting era. Like, this is starting to step away from the era of we're showcasing what you can do. Now, due to the nature of the Wii's menu, they immediately highlight okay, what the heck is this thing doing? There we go. It highlights the motion controls very quick, although that got annoying fast. I wish that you could just navigate with a regular controller in retrospect.
Oh, yeah. Especially the times where you're planning to use like one of the pro controllers anyway.
Oh, and heaven help you if you were on the Wii U trying to play Wii games. So
yes.
You have to navigate from the Wii gamepad
into the emulated Wii menu.
The emulated Wii menu.
And then connect a Wiimote, and the times that there were times where I turned on a Wiimote for the sole purpose of starting a game, and then I set the Wiimote down.
Yep.
And picked up the controller I wanted to play it on.
But anyway, to the point though, this is when we step away from the golden era of good boot screens, because, and I really think it all started with this company. You can see the degradation real quick with the Xbox. Because here's the Xbox One. Well, no, the original Xbox, I have to say. The Xbox One is something different. Like, okay.
Did it play that every time you turned it on?
Believe so.
Wow. I mean, it's kind of neat and cool and different.
Yeah.
That actually, they may have changed it.
Yeah.
Well, because that's different than I remember.
But this is the iconic one, the Xbox 360.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That sound.
Yeah, I never had Xbox, and I knew this sound.
Yeah, even though I never had a 360, I knew that sound inside and out too.
I think part of it is it was in all their commercials.
And this is
that's true. It was strong branding. Yeah,
strong brand identity. But you're seeing how
it commercials
keeps simplifying. And then the special edition's blue. It's like, okay, whatever. But then we move to Xbox One, and it just keeps getting shorter and shorter.
Which, I mean, to be fair, you don't want it too long, but
no.
Yeah.
And then this one is so extra.
This one, it's like, I feel like, did AMD pay them to do that, to really highlight, look, we got an AMD CPU in here.
Would you be shocked?
No, I wouldn't, actually, at all.
You know,
I don't like that one as much.
No,
the other one was better.
It loses the iconic green that I associate with Xbox.
Yeah.
Well, and the sound feels more like the whole, THX beginning of a movie. It feels less original.
Well, it kind of shows that, I mean, and a lot of people have pointed this out, that they're trying to be more your entertainment center than your video game console.
Now that you mentioned that, thank you for setting me up perfectly. The PlayStation 3.
Hey, I love the PS3's opening, though.
This?
The orchestra.
Really?
Yeah, the orchestra. Oh, to show, like, look, this isn't just a MIDI. This is full symphony orchestra.
Well, and it also has that feel like when you're at a play or something and they're all tuning and prepping for the big concert
and
that you're about to watch.
This is me, because I have no love for anything like that. I hear that and I just see like what's video gamey about this?
Well, I care about soundtracks in video games. Like, to me, video games would not be video games without the soundtracks, which is why, like, some people get nostalgic about Atari. I honestly have no nostalgia for any of the old Atari games just because they don't have soundtracks. And it wasn't until the NES introduced music that I really, really got into games and sucked into games. So, I don't know. This one actually has a lot of nostalgia for me.
To be fair, the age of Atari had kind of passed when you came into your gaming.
Yeah, but I had like, my family that I'd visit, and I would play on their Atari system like all the time. So I did play old Atari games. Now, as much as I love the PS3 opening, the PS4's it's so forgettable for me. I have to watch it again to remember.
Well, this is it.
I do remember that chord.
But it's
Yes.
just
Yep,
Two
it's
chords.
just a simple, boring chord. Ding, ding.
and it's just I think part of the problem is what is there to highlight as far as our system can do this that a PC cannot?
Yeah, and also
That's disappearing.
I hate that the background menu music that I don't know. It's too omnipresent in a menu that you're going to be in a lot of the time.
And you can change that.
But to me, it's just like, am I starting up Windows XP or PlayStation 4? Because it's just it has that feel of this is just an operating system.
I didn't have that negative reaction to it.
But like I said, for me, it's just too simple and forgettable. Like the thing I found interesting is like the PS1, the PS2, and the PS3s are all engraved in my very core of my being. And then I think of the PS4 and the PS5 boot ups. It's like I've technically heard those sounds in the last week, but I can't remember what they sound like.
I will say I like the visuals of the PS5 with all this spectral lighting.
Yeah.
But yeah, the sound just sort of
Those last two, for me, it's like, it doesn't make me excited that, ooh, I'm about to play something. It feels more like, oh, we're calm. You can go rest now, go to sleep. Like, it's not hyping me up. It's calming me down.
Yeah. Now, actually, yeah, because like, PS1, totally hyped up, ready for it. You're entering into a new world. The PS2 even did that to a degree as well. The PS3, now granted, you didn't feel this way. I'm just curious, Splice, did you play a musical instrument? Did you
no, heavens
perform?
no.
Yeah.
My parents tried to get Baggins and I were talking about this very recently. They tried to get me to learn to play the piano, but that started when I was a sophomore in high school.
Okay, so yeah, I played in band and in symphony. So the whole workup of, okay, we're getting ready to do something awesome, but we need to tune together, and that sound of that tuning, that chord, like I have memories associated with it, with being in band in the symphony orchestra, that I can tie the whole like I'm getting ready to do something awesome.
You see, and for me, that sound is associated with I'm only here because I have a friend who is in band and wanted me to show up to this concert that I feel nothing for.
Yeah. No, I get that. The difference between being, just in the audience and actually being the one making that sound.
I live with a Philistine.
Darn straight you do. Philistine pride. I was all state.
Oh, boy.
And then there's this one.
I actually really like this one.
I like this one more than the Wii by a long shot, actually.
For me, I associate this with things taking too long to load.
I agree with you on that. It was too long.
Yes, I can agree with that.
But that's an example of the hardware. Like it's not the fault of the startup screen.
Well, that's actually why they. I think that's why they added in a later update that you could turn on the tablet. The tablet would turn on first before you turned on the system. So you could select, I want to load this up immediately. So it would kind of try and streamline it so it wouldn't, as soon as this ended, it was immediately in the game you wanted to play.
Yeah.
So they recognized it was a problem and did something
Yeah.
about it.
It wasn't a sufficient solution, but it was nice that they at least were trying.
Yeah. But I still like the sound it makes, and a lot more than the Wii one, which was just kind of, yeah.
Just kind of there.
Yeah,
Now,
the Wii one boot up was just there. Yeah.
there's one that I had forgotten about, and I found a video that covered the evolution of it, and I thought it's pretty good. The Neo Geo.
Oh yeah, these are
This-
classic.
This is a history of them that someone put together. I forget the name of the video. They did a good job, though.
Though I will admit, kind of like with the Xbox, I feel like they got worse over time, though.
I feel like I'm about to watch an infomercial in
Yes,
the 80s.
okay. I was about to
Yeah.
I was about to say the same thing.
Oh, I
Or
can
like
see
a training video.
that. Okay, I can see where you get that.
But yeah, it's just
I've
I
just
just-
seen one too many cabinet for King of Fighters that I know that sound.
Okay, this sort of intro makes me think I'm going to play like just a DOS game from the mid 90s.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, that's what that. I was like trying to think of the words to describe what I was feeling, and that's what it is.
Like the one that's booted from a disc on the like early CDs. Like my computer doesn't just have a floppy drive; it has a CD drive.
And Sound Blaster technology.
Oh yeah!
Hyper Neo Geo 64.
Wow.
Are these like all the different Power Rangers?
I think so.
It's like Neo Geo Hyper, Neo Geo Turbo, Neo Geo Dino
Thunder.
Thunder. Yeah, that's the one.
But yeah, the Hyper Neo Geo, even that they simplified.
That definitely feels like a PlayStation intro.
Man, they really messed with the Hyper Neo Geo 64 one.
Now this one has a lot of charm, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's a handheld.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say this feels very, Game Boy, but that's because it's handheld.
Does anyone else suddenly want to play Gyromite?
Neo Geo X. That's right. They used the X before Xbox.
I don't think I ever, processed that the Neo Geo was connected to SNK.
Oh yeah, really?
I never
Yeah.
played the Neo Geo.
That's funny because I mean that's what the SNK is known for. But I guess to be fair,
no.
Crystalis.
Crystalis is what
Yeah.
is what SNK is known for me.
Yeah, no, I mean first and foremost for me, I've hung out with Breakfast enough, that I need to know the other SNK stuff. And that and also in Panama there was a Neo Geo cabinet on the corner of every street playing King of Fighters, so I kind of got used to that too.
Yeah,
But-
for me, SNK is very specifically Crystalis.
Well, that and also me and my high school buddies, we'd go to our dollar theater, and they had a couple Neo Geo cabinets as well, and I think it had Metal Slug and King of Fighters, and I remember we would make fun of like the character designs of King of Fighters, even though they're classic. We still kind of made fun of them because we're teenagers. That's what we do. Even if we like a design, we make fun of it.
Well, I mean, it's because you play Street Fighter. It's like we don't play King of Fighters. We play Street Fighter here.
Yes, that was it in its entirety, and that's why, and because it was at the dollar theater, I kind of had it's discount Street Fighter, but then when I went to Panama, there was no Street Fighter anywhere, and it was just King of Fighters. But that, I don't know, also being in Panama, that actually kind of helped solidify that. But then I became good friends with Breakfast, who's a huge, King of Fighters, Fatal Fury fan. So I don't know. It's been interesting.
It was the Socias versus the Greasers.
Yeah.
All right. Now, I'm understanding that I'm about to open up Pandora's box, but this is the closest thing to a PC intro as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
That's a specific game studio, and you know it.
It is, and that's
It is.
why I'm opening up Pandora's box.
That is not the picture.
You mean
I'm used
Pandora's
to.
orange
Yes,
box?
this is the original picture.
Yeah, you're thinking of the bald guy where it's coming out the back of his head, right?
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
one I'm more used to.
Yeah, it's
Well,
funny. I
that's
actually
the
read an
new one.
article about, who was the person they used for that? And it's like, we just wanted to find a model that was, we wanted a blue collar buff model. We didn't want an attractive model.
Well,
I'm like,
okay.
interesting.
Let me.
How would you feel if your agent suggested you for that part? We're looking for a not attractive guy.
That would be interesting.
This role would be perfect for you.
I don't know. Let's ask Danny Trejo how he feels.
Yeah, that's the one I'm used to.
So this is the evolution of them, which there's been recent developments that you might be shocked by. So there's the original. Then there's the bald guy from the back that we're about to see. That end part takes a little longer than I remember. Yeah, and now here's the new one. I believe Half-Life Alyx is when this came out.
Whoa,
Oh, that's creepy.
Don't
yeah,
look at me.
straight. Yeah. Does that bother you? Because it bothers me.
Yes. Oh, no, don't do that.
Oh, I haven't seen that. Oh my goodness.
Think about this was introduced with Half-Life Alyx, a VR game.
Oh,
Fair
that'd be
enough.
so much worse.
Yeah, that's happening in front of you.
I don't like
Somebody
it when I look
looking
at a
at
game and it
you.
looks back.
Oh
The
man,
fourth wall cannot protect you, but I like that as a concept for a VR game.
though I wonder would that man, I haven't played Half-Life Alyx. Now I'll expect it, but man, I wonder if I would have totally lost it if I'd played Alex and that looked at me. I don't know. Ooh, that'd be freaky.
Yeah, right. Okay, now
Thanks a lot for spoiling.
you're welcome. So I did say I'm opening up Pandora's box, so I expect that especially Lunasaur's probably
You
gonna.
didn't hear my reference. You mean Pandora's orange box.
Oh, see, that's really good.
Oh.
That is good.
Nice.
Aha, nice.
So here's for me of the company startups, the one I'm most nostalgic for.
Yeah, I saw this coming, man. Oh, such feelings.
Satisfying.
All I know is I'm expecting a dragon to pop up now.
See, and for me,
Yeah.
that's the Mega Man X sound.
I was going to say Mega Man X right there.
I mean, yes, that's another one, but I think of Breath of Fire first, Mega Man second, Street Fighter third.
Here's one that that one's more iconic. This is the one that I associate with my childhood more due to very specific games that my best friend had on the SNES. Dang it, why isn't it playing? What is going on? There we go.
Looney knows what game that is for me.
Well, that'd be Suikoden for you, right?
Yes, it is. It's a slightly different sound, but the visuals are the same.
For me, it's Tiny Toons Wacky Sports Adventures.
Mm.
My friend had it, and it had amazing replayability.
Yeah, that's the image that pops up every time I popped in Suikoden.
I think Suikoden's the one I know it from too, because even though I play a lot of Castlevania, like the Metroidvania Castlevanias, I don't think that it had that intro. It probably had it for the original Symphony of the Night, but I played Symphony of the Night not on the PS1, so yeah, I think of Suikoden as well.
No,
I think that's the main Konami game I played on the PS1.
I believe this was, for me, it was also Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 4. Turtles in Time.
Okay. Oh, Turtles in Time.
Oh, yeah. Probably there too. Yeah.
Let me double check that. Let's just see that. Turtles in Time SNES intro. Gotta mute this. Found it. Let's see if it's the same. And feel free to throw in other stuff at this point. Yep, sure enough, it is Konami.
Yeah, but did it make that sound?
We'll see in a second. It's got to let us know that everything's kosher. Yep.
Okay.
And I'm just going to let this play because I just... The faithful recreation of the cartoon intro. Brain blast. And then just the slow pan.
I mean, they are the world's most fearsome fighting teens.
It's true. It's very true.
They're really hip.
All right. But yeah.
So, I think of the games I played the most, like Squaresoft, they didn't have a specific opening.
Squaresoft had a specific opening, it just had no sound.
It had
was
no
just
sound.
The logo.
Yeah, the lack of sound
Yeah.
makes it less memorable for me.
Right.
Well, that, and I'm saying it changed from game to game as well. I mean, it doesn't help that, Squaresoft.
Yeah,
Square Enix.
the company name changed from game to game.
Yeah, that's always an issue. Now, here's one that I have I've set up specifically for Lizzie. The evolution of Game Freak.
Oh, yes.
That sounds like an art movie.
The little star shooting.
Very slight different sound. though.
Fancier audio, yeah.
And more color.
They got the spiral animation.
Ditto.
Okay, that's that's creative.
Ditto. That's
Yeah.
cool. I haven't seen that one before.
This one has nostalgia for me. Oh, I love this one.
So nothing's specific for Game Freak. It's just part of the intro.
Yeah, just the logo comes in with the...
Okay, it got to the point a lot quicker on that one. They understand that this is the remake of red and green, I guess, but
This one's a long intro.
I do like that they're using both screens for it, though.
Yes, that's a nice touch.
I feel like at first it lulled and now it's serious.
This is true.
Look, Pokemon's serious business now.
Though this one hits me though. Because I went from Gen 1 to that.
That's a bit of a jump.
Technically that was Gen 2, just a remake of it.
Yeah, come on, we all know
This one's like, ooh, 3D graphics.
Well, it's because I married Lizzie, that's why.
good investment, I think. Why is it playing them side by side? Designed by Game. Oh, because it's slightly which Pokemon it shows. All right, what's this that's loaded here for Xenogears?
Yeah, this is actually, when I think of Squaresoft actually having a cool intro, this is the only game I could think of that actually
I
did
have
it.
one as well. Let me pull it up.
Yeah.
But yeah, this one's iconic to me. And of course, yeah, the video starts with the PS1 boot up.
What's part of it? I forgot how long it takes because it's loading stuff in the background.
Yep.
Wow, that actually is pretty cool.
Yeah, that is very cool.
So I want to go back to that. We don't care about Xenogears. We care about that little effect.
Yeah.
Like, look
I
at
just
that.
love the whole thing. I love it.
Well, it's like a waveform coming together, and you then see it get the prismatic color scheme as it's getting the full white.
Yeah.
That is a good touch.
Which is funny.
That is fancy.
All I know is I just picked this game up used in great condition for $20. I had no expectations, and that's the first thing I see when I plug it in. I'm like, that was more impressive than any of the Final Fantasies on the PS1.
Okay, I see Final Fantasy 14.
Yeah, so this is an example for Square Enix having a good one. Just give it a second.
Creative Business Unit 3.
So that was
that's the actual team.
and you don't want to watch the whole trailer because there
Yeah.
will be spoilers, but not like just watch until you get to the
Which
Okay, I feel like
this
logo.
is for Endwalker. Okay,
yeah.
why do I feel like Nirvana's gonna copyright claim you now?
it's not Nirvana. It's going to be Square Enix, and they've done
Actually,
that before.
that's possible.
But no,
So it
this
may
is
have
why
been a
it's
good
really important that we keep talking over it so that we can't
Yes,
get the
very
full
as
sound
much as we
experience.
possibly can.
Yeah.
When does the Square thing come in?
It right here.
Okay. Is it going to be in like his footprint? Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay, that's kind
Okay.
of cool.
It's like okay,
That's
that's
cool.
actually pretty neat.
Okay. Yeah, I'll give it to Square for that.
Okay, I want.
I still
it
like
to be-
Xenogears better.
Not that you're biased or anything.
Yeah. No bias here.
No. Let's see. What was another one that I was trying? There was someone else's that was iconic, but I
And
can't
then actually,
remember.
here I want to put another one in because this is
Okay.
also the most recent expansion from FF14. And you probably want to mute it.
Oh,
just-
really? That bad? Okay.
I don't know, just to be careful.
Why is mute not working? There we go. All right, we are up in
They're-
the sky.
They're typically really good about
Oh, it's
You know,
the
they're
Oh, that's
typically-
nice.
yeah.
Okay.
So they're typically good about music, except for there are certain songs that are going to get you hit
Yeah.
hard.
oh yeah, I've learned that, which is why we try and do as little stuff from Square Enix on my Amiibo streams as possible.
So actually, I did just look up FF7s. It's just the Squaresoft logo, black background, no sound, and then it's just the prelude starts and Final Fantasy starts. Yeah, there's nothing done cool with the logo.
I
But
forget-
Xenogears definitely had fun with the logo.
Did they do anything special with Mario RPG, or was it just
Ooh,
basic?
good question.
If we're going to Nintendo, the one I remember a lot is I believe it's Banjo Kazooie, the N64 logo.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm obviously going to break rules for Banjo Kazooie and nothing else.
All I know is when I think of the Nintendo 64, that intro is what comes to mind for me.
Well, it's because it makes perfect sense because of the cartridge nature. It's clear that Nintendo said, "Hey, you have to put in an N64 logo," and some of the companies would just put in the logo, and some of the companies would go to extra effort, like animating it, then making it shrug, and then Rare pops up.
Yeah, I always
Oh,
imagine
Rare.
the little
Oh my
logo
goodness.
walking
Yeah.
across.
Rare is a good one.
So I looked up the Super Mario RPG one. It has the Nintendo logo animate morph into the Square logo.
Okay,
It's a little something.
which is cool because that was a a solid collaboration.
Here, I'll throw it in. Oh gosh.
You know something's going down.
Oh, yeah, nostalgia with this one for sure.
That DKC2 entry, man.
Oh,
it is
man.
so good. So freaking good. Diddy's Conquest. Oh, he already put it in. Excellent. I didn't have to do anything.
So yeah, short animation. And that's it. That was it. I mean, other than the game starting, but
Gotcha. There was another one by Rare that I thought was iconic. I'm trying to grab it. I was hoping that would be longer. Let's see. There it is. Okay. Does anyone remember this one? I feel like it's taking longer to do this stuff now. Expansion pack detected.
Oh yeah. The 3D effects.
This is such a good transition.
yeah.
I mean, into the end of what was the company called? New Gen? Or is that something else? I can't remember what the evil company in Perfect Dark's called. Oh well.
That's a good transition though. That I forgot about
great
that.
Transition.
No, it's just there's just such effort put into these intros that I don't know. A lot of the games I play now don't really have that. That like it's a weird thing to say because in some respects it's like, okay, let's just get to the game, right? But in other respects, you lose some branding power and brand loyalty by not having it.
Yeah. Also, if you're gonna show Perfect Dark and Rare, we have to show the GoldenEye intro because it also did a great job. No, this part is a little long for some reason.
Suitable for 1 to 4 persons. It's because it's loading in a bunch of 3D assets. Just gotta spin that Nintendo logo.
This 3D version of the Nintendo logo was
heart-thumping, ominous sound. Okay, we need to stop it there.
Yeah, and this was kind of the when everybody was getting really excited about 3D rotating images.
Oh yeah,
like every GeoCities website had them. So
yeah, well, it's because it's this brand new era of what's possible, and it's interesting because like you saw 2D games for the most part disappear for a period of about 2 to 3 years. It was very rare to get a 2D game. It's what made things like Mischief Makers really stand out at its time.
Mischief Makers is exactly what came to mind for me.
Well, what's actually interesting is in that time period where 2D games vanished for the most part, the few that came out are some of the best games ever made.
Well, it's because I mean, it's not because that's oversimplifies, but it's people who have taken all the lessons they've learned from the 2D era and now putting those concepts onto for what they're doing completely overpowered hardware.
Which which is what we're getting now with the indie rush again, because you get stuff like Shovel Knight and Shantae and games that like are built simply but have a lot more processing power.
Well, that and also like I think some of the 2D games on modern hardware are some of the most gorgeous games out there. For example, the fighters made by like Guilty Gear and BlazBlue, like the high def sprites. Oh my gosh, they are gorgeous. And there's now been a resurgence of like hand drawn, such as if you've seen.
Well, heck, Cuphead by itself is incredible.
Yeah, Cuphead or Streets of Rage 4,
or like Dust.
Yeah, Elysian Tale. Yeah, exactly. Their vector art as opposed to pixelated. They're gorgeous.
The other thing is, it's a good time for that because people are missing that style of animation because the movie studios have all gone to 3D, and people are missing traditional cell animation.
Yeah, everything's computer animated now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and I think Cuphead's an amazing example of it, where they said, like, someone sat there and said, well, wait, a sprite is just frame data. We can traditionally animate a video game.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
when I saw Cuphead the first time, I sit there and just stare like, what? What am I looking at? And you just see, and it's so bizarre because I never paused to think you can traditionally animate a video game, because that's
Oh yeah,
that's just
we're
not
used
what you
to-
traditionally do.
well, we're used to NES, SNES limitations, and we never saw the really high res possibilities because we switched to 3D too early.
Well, it's kind of the outgrowth of stuff like, Flash animation from the early 2000s.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where you
Yeah.
have your Homestar runners. It's traditional animation with a whole different kind of backing.
Yeah. Cuphead takes it to the next level where it's drawn the traditional, like, old school Disney way, where it's on cells and they scanned it in. And so it is like it's all hand drawn.
Right.
But yeah, it is the outgrowth of the Flash era, which is going to be much how, like, I feel like especially now, cuz we just had I think it was the 25th anniversary of the Dreamcast release just happened a couple days ago. Yeah, because it was $99.99. And so people are looking back on the Dreamcast being like, man, this console should have performed better, but it had a lot of competing issues. But you look at the games on it and you look at the quality of them and you're like, man, Time has treated the Dreamcast very well. I think Time is going to treat the Flash era very well.
Everybody I know who had a Dreamcast loved their Dreamcast.
Yeah, it's true.
But I don't know. It's one of these things. And you know what? I actually think it's funny enough, this does carry over to the Flash era, because I remember every Flash artist that I like had their own little logo and intro that they would do. And I think it's a carryover of the video games doing it. And I don't know. I think there's a strong bit of brand loyalty that people are missing out on by not doing it.
Yeah, I think about, like, you turn on your Switch now and it's just like, oh, here's the news on the side. Click a button 3 times. You don't have any hype before you start
people
playing.
talk about the Switch intro being the snap, but I never actually see it.
Like, no, that's for directs.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to mention, even the Dark Empire has one of the most memorable ones. EA Sports. It's in the game.
Yep.
Fair enough.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's in your head as soon as you see it.
Let's see. Let's pull that one up.
Well, and the fact that even my kids will sing Sega to this day.
Well, and that's been reinforced with the Nintendo Switch Online Plus having a Genesis for, there are kids.
Well, that and the Sonic movie did it too.
Sports. It's in the game.
But it's just, if you ever played Madden or anything like it, you know that intro.
Yeah, very true. I didn't play Madden, but I still knew that intro.
I don't remember what game it was that I played that stuck with me, because I didn't.
For me,
play
it was
Madden either.
NHL 94, which I played obsessively, and it's stupid because I figured out how to beat the AI on the goalie. I figured out if you move right to left, right at the dots, at a certain point, the goalie would always dive to block a shot that wouldn't come, and then you just shoot at an open net. And so I could win every single game like 30-3. And I said, I'm going to beat the game with every single team. I don't know why. Probably because I was middle school and I was, bored and lonely, but I did it.
Yeah, I think mine was NCAA football is what I like. I haven't played that many sports games. It's just not my thing. But the few times I played, it just stuck. Yeah. And part of it's because it was said in a serious but slightly cheesy manner, and so it's just serious enough that when you make fun of it, it doesn't feel mocking, but it's just goofy enough that you're going to repeat it.
Well, and it's that repetition bias. It doesn't matter if something's
Yeah.
stupid. You do it enough, it becomes iconic.
Yeah. Though when I think of an intro from a sports game, this is the one that comes to mind for me.
I mean, of course.
Oh yeah, and it has a cool little animation shown for the Super Nintendo.
Man, takes longer than I remember.
Acclaim.
And the sound of the
I forgot about that freaking iguana.
Yep,
That's
the
funny because
iguana.
I did too. I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, oh, I remember this. I forgot that I had forgotten about it.
Like the sound of the glass shattering and then the iguana spinning the ball.
This is taking me. Now, this is a sports game I played like crazy.
Oh yeah.
Like I've mentioned to Splice before. I was not a sports kid, but for some reason, I got caught up in the Michael Jordan craze.
Oh, so did I,
Everyone
man.
did.
And I was so mad that he wasn't in this game.
And that's all because he knew his worth. So for those interested in why, whenever you join the union, part of joining your players union is you basically sign over your rights for them to basically negotiate your likeness in things like video games. But you can opt out. Like that is one of the few parts of the collective bargaining you can opt out of. And Michael Jordan was a big enough deal that he said, no, if they want me in a game, they can come to me. And he's Michael Jordan, so it's a hefty price. And so you'll see this with certain high-level players. They will negotiate on their own. A lot of them won't show up in these games.
You know, it's funny because even though Michael Jordan was not an NBA Jam, right?
No, he was not.
No, I
Even
think he may have shown up in an arcade.
There's an yeah. It's
Okay.
there's.
I think we've talked about this.
I believe
But
it's,
the
it's
thing
two or
is-
three of them.
Even though he wasn't in the team, I still wanted to play the Chicago Bulls when I was playing NBA Jam.
Oh yeah,
That's the power of good marketing and good branding.
because the dynasty was just that powerful.
Oh yeah, and so it's like, oh, I'll play as Scottie Pippen if I can't play, Michael. That and also the basketball caught on fire, and that made everything important.
Well, and
in
it's
this
full
game.
contact basketball where you're allowed to shove and push.
Well,
Shove and
you-
push and shoot a fireball from half court. And
Well,
see,
you
I
just
remember.
You start
remember
goaltending
playing-
on purpose.
Yeah, I remember playing double dribble, and one of the most annoying things about that game was how easy it was to go out of bounds. And NBA Jam just sort of did away with that. They're just
Yeah.
like, you go up to the edge, and there's just a wall there. You're not going to go out of bounds. And it's just this super intense. It's like the XFL,
Yeah,
except for basketball.
yeah. NBA Jam is. They've tried to bring it back a couple times. It's a brief window of time of when it was popular.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is partially because this era of sports gaming in particular was like the more realistic they tried to make it, the less it worked. Like I was talking about the NHL 94, you would just find glitches and bad programming and you could exploit it all the time. I remember in Madden 95, there was a player named Tyrone Poole. He was a rookie, but I would always trade for him because he was this rookie who was hyped up to have like this insane speed. He was a cornerback, and I would just cornerback blitz with him every single time and would half the time get the sack. And so it was just busted. I found a play that if I executed it right, every single time it was just a 7-yard run, which if you know about football, if you can just execute a 7-yard run every single play, you will win every single time. And so it was all about those exploits. And so games like NBA Jam, which threw out the entire concept of this game is going to be accurate. It's heck no, this game isn't going to be accurate. We're going to
This game's going to be fun.
Yeah, we're just going to have guys with their heads too big, Bill Clinton's going to be in it.
So many cheat codes.
Yes.
And you can dunk from half court.
Yes.
You know,
Dunk from a half
From
court.
downtown.
The ball, he's on fire.
Like the commentator was great. It was
Boom,
just,
shakalaka.
Oh yeah, boom shakalaka.
And so they just it was just this insane over the top thing. But the way sports games have evolved is as the technology has improved, they've made it much more realistic. I mean, it's now down to the point where they will, in the middle of the season, update players' like internal stats.
Wow.
Because things will change. And it's based on like physical data that they're at, like they'll be like, oh, we have this rating of speed for this guy, and then the guy will like reach a top speed using advanced, stat tracker stuff that they didn't know that they could reach. It's like, okay, well we like, you think patch notes for like an MMO are long. Patch notes in a sports game are insane. Now, this is something that's also interesting, way off topic, but everyone's like, why do you have to buy the same game over and over again? And it's like, yeah, it's ridiculous from a gamer's perspective. It's not ridiculous from the company's perspective because they have to buy the license to the league every single year. So they need those yearly sales to begin to make it justified.
Crazy.
Yeah. And so it's the pursuit of realism has made it so games like this, they just don't, like, if you're a sports fan who wants to play a video game, are you going to play the cartoonish one, or are you going to play the ultra realistic one that has like face scans of every single player?
Yeah. And I wasn't a sports fan, so I loved
I'm not the
Jam.
sports fan, so I mean, other than
Yep.
being caught up in the Michael Jordan phase, but still, I would still like, oh yeah, let's play some NBA Jam. That'd be great.
Everyone played NBA Jam. NBA Jam was awesome. Some could say it was my jam.
Anyway, sorry, we've strayed a little bit from the topic.
Yeah,
That's my
Yeah. Well, to get back on topic, I see Lizzie pulled up up one.
Let's see.
Yeah, I added it to the list.
Oh, okay.
I'm
Go
trying
ahead.
to figure out how to play it.
You just
Just push play.
Aha, found it.
It is iconic, even if
that
it's
is
now
a good one.
associated with absolute slop.
Yeah, that was one that when you guys brought up EA Sports, this is what also came to mind. I'm like, oh yeah, that's another one.
Yeah, that
No,
one
that's
used to be great.
Absolutely.
Like, man, PS3 era, like PS2, PS3 era.
Have they been on some hard times, maybe, recently?
Yeah, I don't think I've played an Ubisoft game in a decade, actually.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm watching more Ubisoft content than I ever have before. These glitch fests of Star Wars Outlaws are amazing. I didn't realize you could release a game in such bad shape.
Yeah, honestly,
Screw
I think
it. I'm going to find a video for that. I don't care if it's not on topic. That's hilarious.
Oh gosh.
I think the last Ubisoft game that I really played was Assassin's Creed 3.
I was going to say probably an Assassin's Creed because for me, Ubisoft is associated with Assassin's Creed because I haven't played a whole lot of Ubisoft myself, but I have watched Loonsar play Assassin's Creed, and I think our kids have played some Rabid stuff.
Because like in the PS2, there was Prince of Persia: Sands of Time, and I think it had that intro still, and in the PS3 games of that. And I know Baggins loved Assassin's Creed 4. I just couldn't get into it.
I got to be a pirate.
Yeah, that's why I couldn't get into it. I have no interest in being a pirate.
Oh gosh.
Same.
That just makes me I don't understand you.
I don't understand the motivation of being a pirate. It's like, I don't know.
What's not to love? Swashbuckling fun.
Speaking of what's not to love.
This is like a vast. I think Ubisoft has done a really, really good job, by the way. You there? Never mind.
The timing of that is so good.
Yeah,
Such a good intro.
Also with Ubisoft, don't forget Scott the Waz's favorite game.
All right, guys.
Gex.
Let's start with a couple of glitches.
Oh, yeah.
Note that this game only has
Well, no, that's
couple
not Scott the Waz. It's the other guy.
Right, his friends.
Where every
Wait.
ga-
Gex was Ubisoft?
Gex, Enter the Gecko.
Whoa! I don't think I realized that was Ubisoft.
Dang, I was trying to look for one that didn't have a bunch of commentary.
It's for Microsoft Windows, it says.
Maybe they
So
have the
maybe
rights to it now. I don't know.
So maybe this was like a pre. This is up like. So this may have been an early. I don't know. I do not know. Forgot about Rayman.
Yeah. If it wasn't Assassin's Creed, we did play Rayman Legends on the Wii U. Kids really love that.
These AI, they're so responsive.
So lifelike.
And nothing happens. It's just sort of, oh, it's just a casual bump. Just, it's like I'm really there. And we're falling through the ground again.
And the Skyrim music's a nice touch with it.
Weapons can't go down ladders with you. That's good.
I just love how much they're showing up. Remember how glitchy Bethesda is?
Yep.
Yeah, it doesn't seem so bad anymore.
Now, there was a video I saw that compared like Star Wars Outlaws to Red Dead Redemption. Let's see if I can... Red Dead Redemption 2. Yeah, there we go.
Man, this makes Metal Gear Solid look terrible by comparison.
It just gives up. And when did Metal Gear Solid come out?
Oh, Metal Gear Solid came out what, 98?
This is my favorite. We're not gonna use our guns at all. We're just gonna run at people and Falcon punch them. And the enemies are so bad that you could just do this.
Man,
Maybe they're all stormtroopers.
I was gonna say they all have stormtrooper aim. That's all.
man, my star.
But what is Stormtrooper armor for if you can just knock them out with punches?
Decoration.
I just think it's funny. I can't even make it through a sarcastic statement comparing this to Metal Gear Solid. I can't even do it.
Yeah.
What is happening?
I'm
Just
confused.
the guys, I don't know, it's a reference to something I don't get.
I mean, to be fair, that's impressive.
Yeah, so this is what I like here is it's just comparing out Star Wars, like just seeing what a game that came out a long time ago. Oh wait, dang it, this is the wrong video. Where was it? Here it is. But yeah, where you just see the degradation of video game quality. Because this is a game that came out in 2018.
Okay, not bad.
Getting arrested. Let's see, where's the... Now, there was one thing the Star Wars Outlaws does better than Red Dead Redemption. If I can find it. Where is it? We're shooting plants. Is this not the right one? Okay, well, what if you find it? Star Wars Outlaws, their animation on shooting plants, incredible. Like like not like everything else, not sarcastic. It absolutely is incredible, and I don't know who programmed it, but whoever did, they need to program the rest of the game. But yeah, got way off topic. Anyway, that's probably a good sign to wrap up. Baggins, do you want to promote anything?
I'll promote the Sandersonian Institute of Cosmere Studies. It's a podcast about Brandon Sanderson's Cosmere books. We are doing the previews for Wind and Truth, which is the 5th book in the Stormlight series. So definitely full of spoilers, but if you're a fan, you should read Brandon's books and get caught up because
That's excellent
awesome.
advice.
But then also you should then come and listen to our thing and watch us live, and because we record every other Monday night at www.youtube.com/Cosmere Studies.
All
So
right.
you should join in. We record live and we have a chat going and lots of fun stuff. So
Lizzie?
I will promote my stream, twitch.tv/Lizzie Petrichor. I do Pokemon shiny hunting. I just had my affiliate anniversary last week, and I took chat's requests on what to shiny hunt. And so I've been working on finding those shinies and then trading them to the people who requested them. And coming up this weekend is the Full Odds Showdown, which I am a moderator for. So I will be doing a couple full odds hunts,
What's
which
that?
it's the old school full odds, which is 1 in 8,192, I think. I'm remembering, but over 8,000, 1 in 8,000 odd to get a shiny. Ever since Gen 6, they've actually cut that in half. Whereas Gen 6 and beyond, the full odds is only 1 in 4,000 something. And so this whole showdown, it's going to be like a 10-day long event of streamers trying to find shinies. We're split into 2 different teams and trying to earn points by finding shinies. So I'm planning to actually play some Pokemon Silver and going for a shiny Cyndaquil starter.
That'd be good. Judging from my audience, Cyndaquil might be everyone's favorite starter. I can't tell.
It's one of the only starters I'm still missing a shiny of, so that's why I'm choosing that one.
All right. Lunasaur.
I think I'll actually give a shout out to one of my favorite PC games, because it actually, just yesterday, left early access and had its official release with its 1.0 version, and that is Satisfactory. It now has a full story to go with the gameplay and an end goal and new technology, new stuff, bunch of new content. I'm excited. I started a fresh save file and I've already found some new stuff. It's been good. I love Satisfactory.
It's satisfactory.
It is very satisfactory.
Nice. And then you can, of course, find me on Twitch and Kick, and obviously here if you're here, under the name Splice Stream. We are focusing on our XCOM content. And on Saturday mornings, which is the one I think people who view this podcast would be interested in, Saturday mornings at 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern, we do The Quizzard, which is our video game trivia show, which I think you would like. Good topic.
yeah, but I think we over